Truth is, many of these pharmaceuticals have put on hold research into other drugs for other illnesses as they race to find both a treatment and a vaccine for the Wuhan coronavirus. It's a fast-track process that could produce a vaccine before the end of the year. That's could. But as of right now, things do look rather promising. Joining me now from Dallas, Texas, financial expert, co-founder and chief strategist of GDP Advisors and Daily Ledger contributor, Seth Denson. Seth, this is important, finding a vaccine, and it's the free market at work. And one of the reasons why it's important to find a vaccine is because we're hearing a lot of these governors, particularly blue state governors like Gavin Newsom, saying, hey, we're never going to go back to normal until we have a vaccine. Now, forcing Americans to take the vaccine, obviously that's another question. But the bottom line is to have it available, this unlocks the freedom and unlocks the free markets to many of these blue states.
It does indeed, and thank goodness for our free market system, right, which is encouraging the private sector to come up with a solution here. Matter of fact, as of today, there's nearly 24 companies that are currently working on or in trials for a vaccine, all private sector companies. And so as you think about this, as we start to make an argument about government-run healthcare or not, I think that this certainly is a case for why government-run healthcare is not a solution.
And we should point out it's not the government. It is the private sector that is doing the research and eventually is going to come up with this vaccine, probably, which is why I've always argued on this program that we need our society, we need our economy hitting on all cylinders during a pandemic like this so we can support as a country this research. I just don't believe that these people are operating in a vacuum, nor should they. We need to have a fully functioning society. Speaking of fully functioning, you have the New York Stock Exchange. I guess it's quasi-fully functioning now, but folks on the floor are running around with masks. Now explain to me, Seth, how exactly is that going to work with all the noise that emits from the floor of the stock exchange?
Well, it'll certainly be a new world, and I'm speaking as someone who spends a lot of time at the New York Stock Exchange and I'm regularly there. You've got plexiglass, you can't go up and shout your trades. I'm anxious to see kind of how this ultimately comes about, but the good news is the markets are responding. They're at least liking to see that there are people on the floor now making trades and starting to get the business of the economy going again.
Speaking of the economy, it's interesting, if you look at the housing market, a lot of people would have predicted back in March and April that the housing market would have tanked by now, but it hasn't. And home prices, for example, are pretty solid. This might be a function of inventory, which is probably rather low right now, I would imagine, because people just probably took their homes off the market, want to wait this thing out.
Well, there's two things at play here. One is that the numbers are a bit delayed. They're a few months behind. But that being said, too, as you just mentioned, people took their homes off the market. You couldn't go look at houses. Most states had required that people couldn't actually go and see a house. Right. They kind of shut that business down. But the good news is that the market is holding steady and prices are holding steady. Actually, they're going up.
Got to go back to those open houses eventually, because I, for one, am not going to buy a house virtually online solely. It's not going to happen. I know a lot of people are with me. Seth, thank you.